Total Sports Zone. All sports, all action, one zone.
All right, let's talk about a fight that is just electric. It's one of those classic matchups, the kind that can make a career overnight or stop one dead in its tracks. We've got the surging contender, Melquizael Costa, running headfirst into the veteran wall, Dan Ige. Let's break this one down. In this sport, it really can all come down to one single solitary moment. A few seconds, a perfectly timed shot, and everything changes. And believe me, Melquizael Costa had one of those moments, and it was a total game changer. And this was it. That incredible head kick. You could hear the commentators just losing their minds. It was the kind of knockout that puts the entire division on blast. This was Melquizael Costa announcing his arrival, and man, was it something special. So how quick was it? Get this. 74 seconds. Just 74 seconds. That's not just a win, right? That is a statement. And that knockout, it was the perfect exclamation point on what has to be one of the most amazing comeback stories we've seen all year. Okay, so let's dive a little deeper into the man himself, Melquizael "Milk" Costa. Because that knockout was incredible, but it was really just the grand finale of a truly wild year for him. His 2025 was, it was a roller coaster. He started the year with a pretty shaky 2-2 record. And honestly, that's a spot where a lot of fighters just kind of fade away. But not him. Nope. He dug in, found his groove, and just started reeling off wins. He ended the year with 4 straight victories, with that spectacular KO as the cherry on top. And look, these weren't just tune-up fights. He was in there showing some serious technical skills against tough, established guys like Andre Fili and Julian Erosa. But here's the part that just blows my mind. The dude fought 9 times in 1 year. 9! That kind of activity it's almost unheard of these days. That tells you everything, right? The guy is just hungry. But all that momentum runs into a problem. To climb that ladder, you've got to get through the guy who's guarding the gate. And in the featherweight division, that guard is the number 14 ranked veteran, Dan Ige. So you hear that term gatekeeper a lot, and it's a super important role. These are the respected, tough-as-nails veterans who are basically the bouncers for the top 15. You want to get in the club? You want to get that number next to your name? You have to get past them first. And right now, Dan Ige is that guy.
Okay, and this is where the whole thing gets really interesting because Ige he's kind of a walking contradiction right now. On one hand, he's coming off a big knockout win, so the power is still there. But on the other hand, he's dropped 3 of his last 4. He's been having a tough time against the absolute top dogs, and that little crack in the armor, that's a massive, massive opportunity for a guy like Costa.
But, and this is a huge but, Costa's knockout power is about to collide with a literal brick wall. Ige's greatest weapon might just be his chin. It's legendary. The guy has never, not once, been finished in his entire pro career. Just let that sink in. That is an absolutely insane stat. So what does that give us? It's the classic irresistible force versus the immovable object. It's the red-hot momentum of a hungry striker against the hardened, battle-tested experience of a guy who just refuses to go away. You just can't script it any better. Yeah, and this lays it all out perfectly. You've got Costa, the aggressive, technical striker, going up against Ige, the tough counterpuncher. You have the unranked guy trying to smash the door down, and the number 14 veteran trying to hold that door shut. Everything about this, every single piece, just screams career crossroads. And that's why this isn't just some random fight on the undercard. No way. This is a pivotal moment. Seriously, the result of this one fight is going to completely change the future for both of these guys. So what are we really talking about here? When that cage door locks, what's actually at stake? What does a win or a loss really mean for them? For Melquizael Costa, literally everything. A win here is his golden ticket. It's that big, signature victory over a ranked name. It gets him into the official rankings, and it's basically him shouting to the rest of the division, hey, there's a new monster here, and you better be ready. Now for Dan Ige, the stakes are just as massive, but for the opposite reason. A loss to an unranked guy, that's a huge blow. It would be incredibly damaging. He'd almost certainly drop out of the top 15, and it would raise some really serious questions about where he goes from here, about his future among the elites. And the best part? We get to see this all go down at UFC Houston. The whole card is stacked.
But this one is a real standout.
I mean, look at this lineup for February 21st. It's awesome. You got Strickland versus Hernandez headlining, the always exciting Neal versus Holland, and then you have this gem, Ige versus Costa. It's being billed as a must-watch, and for good reason. Trust me, this is one you're going to want to tune in for early.
So it all comes down to this one big question, right? You've got the unstoppable force of Costa's momentum smashing into the immovable object that is Dan Ige's chin. Is this the night the gatekeeper finally gets pushed aside? Is this the fight where a brand new star is born? We're going to find out in Houston.